Hello, friends. Okay, so it is no secret that I stopped doing videos for The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but we are back to do the finale. Thank God, thank God, thank God, child. Honestly, it wasn't giving for me. I don't know if you could tell from the reviews, but like episode by episode, it just was not giving, and I need a give for me to be able to give. Like, I need something to analyze. And so I wanted to be fair and let the season play out, because sometimes, as I feared, they'll string storylines along and they just, in ways that just don't need to be strung along. And so I'm like, I'll just let it all play out and I'll talk about it at the end. And from what I suspected, honestly, I feel like I could have watched the finale and summed up the season. So, but let's talk about it. Pardon if you see some smokings, but it's from my incense. We are curating a space in here. So basically, we start off with the episode, and Kyle is planning this all-white party. I guess it's something that she used to do. I don't necessarily know what the occasion is, but she was talking about it as if it was something that was like a staple or whatever. I'm not a day one Beverly Hills girly. I don't even know that this event is a day one Beverly Hills thing, but that's just what I'm saying. But I did note that she said, she was excited to plan this party instead of talking about, what's going on in her life. And I think that that's abundantly clear. So, we move on and we do find out that Erica is performing. There was a flashback to last episode, and I forgot what event they were at, but I guess that's when Kyle asked her to perform. We didn't get to see it in that episode, but we've seen it in this one. Whatever, fine. We've missed more. I'm kind of like rushing through the synopsis of the episode because it's the end of the season and I want to talk about what I think about the season and each storyline at the end. So that's kind of what's going on. So then Sutton talks to her daughter about, being independent. What I will say is definitely in the finale, they put an end to the chapters of the storylines that were going on this season, as one should, of course, I guess, but it felt extremely intentional, right? Like, it felt like because these storylines really went askew during the season, it was like, let's make sure we go to each lady and we touch base and say, oh, remember this was a storyline, this is what happened with it, boom. Like, even before we get like the little montage thingies at the end where they kind of list what's going on next, they're saying it in the season, so to speak. So fine, we get Sutton and she's having this talk with her daughter about being independent, which I think is great. I think that honestly, I would say that was a great storyline for Sutton. I'm not mad at it. I think coupled with the dating thing and the fact that she released her friend's ashes, and she talked about releasing, her father's death and her divorce. Like, that all sounded good to me. I like the way that it was shown on the show. I think that maybe if they would have had more discussion about it, then it would have been even better. But I'm not mad at how it happened while they were on their trip. And she basically pulled it all together. Once she pulled it all together, I was like, okay, I'm fine with this. So cool. We get a clip of Garcelle getting ready for the all-white event, and she's referencing, that she spoke to Denise, and Denise threw some shade about, Erica performing in Vegas, and she was like, oh, I didn't know they allowed people to lip sync. And that's cute and all, but I have no ties to Denise. Like I said, I did not watch the show when she was on it. Outside of the show, I know who she is. Great lady, seems nice. But in terms of the shade, like, it didn't necessarily tickle me. And I feel like Denise's involvement or lack thereof in this season was very unnecessary. It felt as if they were almost kind of just throwing things at the wall to see what stuck. And I kind of feel like also we were getting a lot of murmurs because obviously we lost Lisa Rinna, so it was a lot of talk about, well, who are we going to get? And, Lisa Rinna was brought up, and Kathy was brought up, and a lot of like I think even Lisa Vanderpump was brought up. So they had kind of, not necessarily Bravo, but like the world was kind of talking about in the socials and was kind of alluding to like, oh, this is who may be filming, and all we got was Denise. And it was extremely flat. So, the shade is cute, but it didn't do much for me. Something that I guess I understand this storyline. I wish that it was talked about a little bit more just for context, because I do feel like Dorita's at least very articulate, and she is really good at explaining her feelings because she, no Sade, but she does really like to talk about herself. So she tends to get those things out, and that's refreshing on a show like this because we're not getting it for anybody else. So, I do, I am, I guess, partially invested in this whole storyline of the fact that PK is in London, and I guess he extended his trip for whatever reason for work, and she had really wanted him to be there with her, and there's this, divide in their relationship that they've talked about briefly, and he was kind of saying on the phone call, well, if this was previously, I don't remember the time frame, but he was like, I wouldn't have done this. And I feel like that was him referencing, if it was closer to the time of the incidents that occurred, I wouldn't have stayed in London for so long. But now, it's been some time. And he even said last episode, he feels like, when do we turn the corner? And I've said this already before PK said it, so it's interesting to hear him say it. Like, we understand that the trauma happened to Dorit, we get it, you got PTSD, but like, what are we doing to turn the corner? And it's interesting to see, like, hear PK say it. So I think it goes hand in hand with him deciding at this point to stay in London. Like, girl, it's been some time, like, I gotta work, you're gonna have to kind of figure it out, and I kind of get it. I think that, I don't know the history of their relationship, but it feels like PK is kind of fed up with Dorit being annoying. And that's hard. I've never been married, but I've definitely been in a relationship where I get annoyed with my partner, but I get annoyed very easily. So, I can feel him at the very small level of what I can feel him. I know what it's like to be annoyed. So I think that's why he's been keeping his distance and not necessarily feeling bad about it. And I think that's a good story. I think if they would have, I don't know how they could have jumped into it a little bit more, honestly. I think instead of hyping up the Kyle and Mauricio stuff to give us nothing, and we'll definitely get there, I feel like they could have maybe dove more into Dorit and PK. Even if PK wasn't going to be there, he did, do a lot of confessionals and talk a lot. But even if he was going to be in London, we could have gotten a lot from Dorit, because again, she likes to talk. So I think that would have been a better thing to run with, to be honest. Fast forwarding through a lot of mush, because it just was a lot of like, at the event. Everybody's at the event. Hello, everybody's at the event. Oh my God, event. Everybody's in white. I guess Denise was not in white. There's some shade. Denise threw some shade at Erica over and over again at the event. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Unnecessary. But, Erica performed, and it looked really cute. A while back, when I was like hearing about her Vegas show, I went and I just watched some clips, because I'm like a live performance girly. I do like to see those things. And so I just wanted to see what it was giving. And, the girls have been kind of shading it. People who I assume don't really care for Erica, and I also don't care for Erica, but bias aside, I assume that the people that were shading it are people just already don't care for her, and they were just saying she doesn't really give much, just being funny on Twitter. So I watched the clips, and I do feel as though it was giving exactly what it gave on the clips. Like, it's put together nicely, it's clean, and it definitely has a nice aesthetic, but I think that she could give more energy. I believe that she's trying to be more like Sex Kitten-esque, and like, she's hitting the moves, but it's very like, I feel like she could go a little bit harder, and you would feel more energy from it. But overall, I thought it was great. It looked really nice. She had a nice crowd. Party was cool. Boom, bam, boom. I guess I'll talk about her storyline. What storyline, right? I mean, she, the Vegas thing was not compelling. I think we all know that, and it was very thrown together. And I think we could have referenced it without making it so prominent. Like, but, aside from that, we did get some recent stuff about, on the trip, which I appreciated. Her talking about, I don't know, she got a favorable judgment. That's her favorite thing to say, favorable judgment or whatever the hell. But, the case is being picked up in different jurisdictions or different courts or something like that. I don't know. I don't get too invested because I just honestly do not care. And I feel as though that's where Erica gets annoying to me, because Erica is somebody that's just always wanting to prove a point, and that gets so exhausting. And I hope that she gets to a place, and I believe that she is based on, how she's talking on the season, but I hope that she gets to a place where she's not trying to prove stuff to other people. She's just okay being Erica. Like, it just kind of gets so like, okay, shut the hell up, right? Like, I think it's kind of crazy that Erica was looking for the group to acknowledge and apologize to her for having questions last season. I tried to put myself in her shoes, but I would never be in those shoes, no Sade. But I was trying to put myself in those shoes where, if I was involved in some legal trouble, would I feel some type of way about my friends questioning me about it? But I feel like I had to distinguish that, like, okay, maybe I have some really close friends where I would feel some type of way if they were asking me, but I don't really know. I don't think I would, but maybe if they were really close friends, maybe I'll give her that. But these are your castmates, and we're on a show called Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So it's something that you need to discuss, and I don't think that it's wrong. I never felt like, even at that time and now in retrospect, even seeing everything play out, I never felt like anybody was incriminating her. I just didn't feel like that. I feel like they were valid questions and it just was what it was. And I think that it got to all those heated points when it did get heated because of Erica's reaction and her being very nonchalant and her being very mean-spirited. And so I think that's why they got so pushy with it. But I don't think at its base, I don't think it's a problem to question someone. So I think it's ridiculous that Erica is expecting an apology when she's like, look, I got a favorable judgment. Like, you guys should apologize. I was right. And it's like, it has nothing to do with right or wrong, especially particularly with the earrings, right? Like, there's no issue with the ladies advising that you should give the earrings back on a morality standpoint. Nobody gives a damn about the judgment. And that was said last season. So now when you're coming back saying like, oh, they ruled that, bad funds were not used to buy those earrings, apologize to me. We still don't give a damn because nobody cares about the judgment. We were just saying, because I agreed, that just give up the earrings. At the end of the day, if it's in dispute, what difference does it make? Just give them up. And Erica just was coming off as such a selfish person and such a I want to be right all the time. She just always wants to prove a point, and that's annoying. And so I wouldn't have an apology for her either. But kudos to Crystal for apologizing to her. What a great woman. She will be blessed. Kudos to Sutton for apologizing to her. What a great woman. She will be blessed. And, cool. But I don't think anybody owes Erica an apology. But, as far as storyline goes, which that wasn't used, but I will give them the cookie crumbs of that and say, that was some interesting stuff to hear about and some interesting dynamics to see. And I do think it'll shake things up for seasons to come, or at least season to come, or whatever the hell. So I'm fine with a dynamic shakeup, especially because she only got apologies from Crystal and Sutton, two people you would never expect. So maybe that'll shake things up. You never know. So cool. Really did feel like, after the show, they did those montages that I talked about where they say, where the ladies are now. And I feel like that's where the real tea was, right? Like, we learned that PK was in London for 39 days. So that's over a month. That's insane. So I would like to hear more about that for sure. And I'm sure that affected their relationship more than we know, right? I would love to hear about that. And then I also, we learned that Kyle and Dorit haven't talked since December. And I'm wondering if they do the little montage thingies based on when the finale airs. So I'm wondering if to date, like meaning February of 2024, if they haven't spoken since December, which is, it's likely. It was 2 months ago. So, but that's a long time for friends. And we don't necessarily know what happened, so I would like to hear about that. But it kind of frustrates me because that feels like it was a drop ball, because I'm thinking into the season, and earlier on, Dorit was challenging Kyle, but then she kind of fell back, like whatever. And then you didn't really see much interaction between them at all. So that leads me to believe that there was a disconnect happening between them during the season that we just didn't necessarily get to hear about. And that frustrates me, but that's not even the tip of the iceberg as it pertains to Kyle, but we are going to keep moving. But finally, after that, I believe that the episode had gone to be around 30 plus minutes, but under 40. And for that last 20 minutes, we are given this People Magazine, Kyle and Mauricio story. And I just think that is so ridiculous. Like, this was the hyped up story of the season, and you've condensed it into the last 20 minutes of the finale. Same thing they did with Drew and Ralph on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I think that's so insulting to viewers, because maybe it was out of their control, right? Obviously, they skipped a month ahead, and we all knew before this season came out, way before this season came out, that the separation was announced after filming wrapped. We knew that. However, you can't tell me that you guys didn't have an opportunity to get more footage while filming was happening, or ask Kyle more questions, or dig in more, because she's sitting there alluding to the fact that there's so much going on. There's so much going on. There's so much going on. I don't know if my marriage is gonna last. She said it every damn episode, but there was no context given. And then I feel like, not that the excuse was used, but I know that somebody's going to use it, and they're going to say, well, it didn't happen until after filming wrapped. So no, bullshit. Like, and it just, it's so insulting to viewers to hype up this storyline to bring in viewers for a season, and then it's not even a storyline, and you kind of like breadcrumb it out. I think that that's insane, and they could have definitely done way, 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 way more. Way more. And I think we all know that. And that bothers me that they didn't. And that they allowed Kyle to get away with that. But I'm interested to hear what they say about it at the reunion. I did think it was nice to hear, you know, at least Sutton and Garcelle expressing some discourse. At least we get to hear that. Like, there's them saying, obviously this was happening, you know, at the time, and she was hiding it. And then get to hear some other discourse from, you know, Crystal's husband, who thought maybe it was Morgan who leaked it to People magazine, because that's a big magazine for it to come out with the tea. So it's like, maybe it's Morgan. And then there was somebody that said maybe it was Kyle. So, you know, I appreciate being able to at least hear that, because that feels real, because we're not getting anything real from Kyle. And then it was just very interesting to me to, you know, Kyle's then filming with Erica after the I guess the day after the thing dropped, and the People magazine thing dropped, and she's admitting, because, you know, Erica's like, I apologize if I didn't, you know, observe what was happening. And Kyle even admits verbatim, like, well, there was nothing to observe because we were handling everything in private. And Erica's like, well, what is everything? And Kyle has no answer still. She's mumbling, she's stuttering. And then she's like, well, people think that is cheating. And Erica's like, well, was there truth to that? And she stutters about that some more. And she's like, well, but no, like, it's nobody but us. And I'm just like, so even now, where we've obviously had to pick back up the cameras a month after filming, you're still allowing her to say nothing? Like, why are we here? What is this for? Is this to build up? Is the formula to build up anticipation for us to put her in the hot seat at the reunion and talk about it? Like, that's not exciting, because we're still not going to get enough at the reunion. It's only 2 to 3 parts, and it's going to be condensed down because we got to talk about other stupid stuff like Sutton's esophagus. It's just not, it's so dumb, and it is very frustrating, to say the least. And then, to make matters even worse, for letting people get off easy, Kyle's now filming with Mauricio and the full family, and they're starting off by joking about the cheating rumors. And Mauricio's like, well, at least it's not me cheating this time. And Kyle's like, for once. And it's just like, just for Kyle to come at the very back end and do a confessional, and somebody ask her, production ask her, like, girl, what's the tea? Like, what was the issue? Because she's even still saying, like, they're talking to the kids, and Mauricio's pretty much not saying anything. And Kyle's basically saying, like, we about to live separately. We about to keep it moving. It is what it is. And then Mauricio's like, well, hold on. And she's like, well, you know, we'll try it out. Like, we'll try to live together. But if that don't work, we about to, you know. So she's ready to get up out of there. And she even admits in the confessional, like, you know, yeah, I don't feel like my marriage is going to work. And it's like, okay, big question that we've had for the last umpteen episodes. Why? And she finally gives us something, I guess. And she says, you know, things happened that broke her trust that she could not recover from. Okay. But you could have said that very vague answer years ago. Like, you could have said that a long time ago. And then we could have got some more out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's not even substantial. Like, that's nothing. Especially the whole season where you're saying it's not cheating, it's not cheating, it's not cheating, it's not cheating. And then you come to the butt end of the season and you're like, well, he broke my trust. How? Did he lie about his favorite color? Like, I just don't understand how she was able to get away with that. And I hope that they don't think that it's going to be cleaned up by way of a hot seat at the reunion, because I don't want to hear that. I'm not even interested in watching the reunion, to be honest. After that, we learned that Kyle rekindled things with Kathy. So it's just like, whatever. Like, my thoughts. I think that at first, remember, if we go back, I was like, these storylines don't feel like they can carry. And then kind of towards like mid-season part, I'm like, okay, they're talking about them and things are moving. So maybe these things can carry through. And then when I stopped doing videos for a month or however long it's been, those episodes were just like nothing. Like, we weren't talking about anything. Like, if we really, I can understand. A lot of people have said they like this season, and I'll say on a brighter note, similarly to these seasons, like when something crazy happens on a Housewives episode, they typically will do like a filler episode after to kind of calm the tides and like cool everybody down. Not that season was super explosive, because it really wasn't to me. I thought it was good. Last season was good, but it wasn't super crazy. Not to me. But this felt like a filler season where it's like, okay, let's calm things down. Like, let's show that the ladies can get along. Let's shift the dynamics. So if that was the objective in this dry season with no content or substance was intentional, fine. But I think that they could have done better to shift and shake up the dynamics. I do feel like the ladies were able to take a breather this season, which is probably nice, I'm sure. And I think that they were probably able to maneuver better within the season and give them an opportunity to create different dynamics, but it still didn't. It kind of felt like they took the break and still didn't use it to kind of get along and get to know each other better. It just felt like they were taking individual breaks, coming to clock in for work and doing nothing and going back to take their breaks. You know, they're on a break while they're on break, and then they're on a break while they're at work. So I can't necessarily say what it was for. I was supposed to be saying something positive. Yeah, I mean, I think that the lightness of this season gave the ladies an opportunity to bond more, create different dynamics, and just be a lighter, more fun season. But I still don't necessarily feel like I got that. I don't. Because you still need story. Like, what are you guys doing? And I just don't necessarily know what anybody in this group is doing or what they were doing. So I didn't gain anything. Like, they got a break and the viewers didn't gain anything. If we're being, there's nothing to take away from this season. So, I mean, I think the potential was there. I think the hype was there, which is what frustrates me the most. I think they hyped the hell out of this season because they had to, because Lisa was gone and everybody's like, oh, it's gonna suck, it's gonna suck. And it did suck. But, they hyped it up and they're like, oh, so and so might make an appearance, so and so might and we just, like I said, we just got Denise. And there's no shade to Denise, but that nothing happened with that. Like, the best part of the season, I would say, is when they went to Spain. That felt nice. That felt like, because at least a story came together. So for me, Sutton's story really came together in Spain. And I do feel like I really got to see the ladies as a group have a dynamic and have fun in Spain. Otherwise, I got nothing. So it's unfortunate, but we'll watch the reunion. If I'm feeling the reunion, I'll be here. If I'm not feeling it, I will not. And I hate to say that, but I'm going to do the best I can, but I have to have something to do it with. But, let me know what you guys think. I am curious to hear, because a lot of people have told me that they like this season, and I guess I can't. I don't know. I mean, it's not that it's like, oh my God, I hate it, but it's like there's nothing to like to me. Like, there was nothing to like. I didn't take anything away from it. That's my personal opinion. So, but let me know what you guys liked about it, and because I am interested to know. So please let me know, and we'll see at the reunion.